This month, one of the biggest horror films of all time, if not one of the biggest films of all time, is celebrating its 50th birthday. Of course, we are talking about Jaws. Hello, we're Screen Rant, and today we're going to be covering off our top 5 shock attack films.
Remember to like and subscribe for any horror news, reviews, and recommendations. The Reef is about a group of friends whose boat capsizes and they find a reef which they get on to try and avoid a great white shark. It builds up the atmosphere very well, so it brings an element of urgency as the water rises and the shark becomes more of an issue.
Open water. There's a couple who go on a scuba diving outing and actually get left behind by their boat, and it's just the two of them out there bobbing around in the ocean trying to survive, and along comes a shark.
A genuine fear for anybody who has been smoking while scuba diving.
I don't want to spoil the ending, but it's definitely not one to watch if you're feeling a little bit sensitive.
47 meters down. Two sisters go shark diving in Mexican water. It's just a real nail-biting, tension-building film. They only have 1 hour left of oxygen. They're trapped underwater in a cage whilst being circled by a shark. Very far-fetched in terms of its premise, but very entertaining. A very interesting ending.
The Shallows stars Blake Lively, who is pretty much the only character throughout most of this film unless you count the seagull. It follows a young woman who goes on a bit of a soul-searching solo surfing trip to Mexico. Unfortunately, it all goes a little bit wrong, and she ends up stranded on a rock in the shallow part of the ocean whilst being circled by a shark. This one's a lot of fun, it's quite light-hearted, it's a little bit silly, and Blake Lively does a really good job.
And how could we talk about shark films without mentioning the birthday boy himself?
It's Jaws. It's Steven Spielberg's first ever film, which should tell you everything you need to know. And honestly, if you haven't seen Jaws, who are you? The music to Jaws still strikes fear into people's hearts 50 years later, and Jaws is still the reason why many of us will never go into the water again.